D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds, and welcome to my week in review, where you can join me every Sunday, where I will try to break down 3 shows, 3 stories, and then I'll talk to you about 3 different movies that came out this week. This week is going to be a little bit different because I only have to talk about 2 shows, because for me personally, shows have kind of slowed down for the summer and everything, but they will pick back up later on in the fall. But then I will talk to you about 3 different stories, 4 different stories today and everything, and then we'll talk about 3 movies that came out this week. You can join me every Sunday, like I said, for this, and just so you guys know, there are some spoilers in this, so if going ahead you haven't seen any of these shows, you can just stop it at when I'm talking about it, and so let's get started. Alright, so the first show that I want to talk about is the show Preacher. Now, if you're watching this show like I am, you must love it, because you keep coming back to it, but this season... they've kind of taken a pause looking for God. They were looking for him last season, and then this season, Tula died. Well, she went to purgatory, so she kind of died, was not fully dead yet, and so they went to, Preacher's mom. And that, she is a great addition to the show. Her, is played by, actress, Betty Buckley. If you, you might remember her from, the movie Split. That's where I remembered her from, start off, but she's in a lot of theater and everything, and so on and so forth. But I think she plays, the character that she plays is really great. She does a lot of voodoo, and then she steals the souls of people that don't pay her back. And we saw that in this episode. She takes their souls through a machine, and then that's how she stays young. And she used to run a plantation, and she would get visitors and stuff, and that's how they... And then she would also do spells. And like what we saw in this episode, we saw her do a sober spell on a congressman. I believe he was a congressman or something along those lines and everything, to stop drinking. And then, of course, she ended up killing her daughter. And then she sent her henchmen to kill Preacher's dad and everything. And then she brought him, we saw, I believe it was the last season... We saw her last season in the season finale, I believe, and she wasn't very nice to Preacher when he was younger. But like I said, the show is really great, and I'm liking this. I really hope that they don't spend the whole season at this plantation that's run down and everything with Grandma Preacher. I really hope they get off of that and they get back to searching for God, who is just a guy in a dog suit. The next show that I want to talk about is on Freeform, and that is Cloak and Dagger. Now, if you're watching this show like me, I'm very interested in this show just because it's I don't know if it's a part of the MCU anymore. I don't know what's going on with the TV shows anymore with the MCU and all that stuff, if they're connected or not. But I do think in this episode, Tandy, she gets a hold of a girl whose dad also worked on the thing in the water. Gosh, I cannot think right now. But and she was asking her about her dad because she wanted to know about her father, so she could try to get down to Paxson and their whole blaming her dad for the explosion and everything, and she did say the line that, there was the line said in there that magic is just science that we don't understand yet. And that was said in Thor, the first one. So they kind of connect it, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's connected or not anymore. I'd have to look that up. I should have researched that, but I didn't think about it until just now. But the show is really good. I really do think that they really need to start using their powers more, and not just the whole I touch you and I can see your fears or your hopes, but I want to see Tandy's light. I want to see Cloak's, I want to see him put on the cloak and do the whole shebang and everything. I just want to see it all, go balls deep on this, you know what I'm saying? But so far the show is good. It's only 6 episodes in, so maybe I'm jumping ahead, but I don't think this is going to be a 22 episode season, so I believe by the season finale, they need to be full-on powers, because that's what I want to see for season 2. Okay, so jumping into movies, movies that came out this weekend are Sorry to Bother You, Legacy of the White-Tailed Deer Hunter, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay, and I don't know if you saw Ant-Man and the Wasp. I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp. It was pretty good. It was kind of medium. I mean, as far as what we're used to, but I think that it was good. That end credit scene, I have some thoughts on it, but I don't want to give any too many spoilers away. If I do a review on it, then I'll do it there, but I don't want to do it here. But it was pretty medium. I was disappointed in Angeline Lilly's Wasp. I thought that she was very, just really moody the whole time, and really just like everybody's mom, and nobody wants that. I mean, and everything. I wanted her to be more of a leader, and just, kind of like she was in the first movie. I really liked her in the first movie. Okay, so real quick, I am not filming this on Sunday, but I am posting this on Sunday. But as of now, number 1 at the box office this weekend is Ant-Man and the Wasp, of course. And then number 2 is Incredibles 2, holler, also a good movie. And then number 3 is Jurassic Park Fallen World, also a good movie. All 3 of those are really good movies. Well, not really good movies, but good movies. Incredibles 2 is a really good movie. I liked it a lot. Okay, so now let's move on to the news. And the first thing that I want to talk about is Steve Ditko has died at the age of 90. And this past week, on the 29th, we lost the illustrator Steve Ditko. And he worked for both DC Comics and Marvel, to name just a few. And he's worked on some really iconic characters in the comic books, in comic book history. I mean, without Steve Ditko, there would be no Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, no Master of the Mystic Arcs, Doctor Strange, no Squirrel Girl, Blue Beetle, Captain Atom, or The Question. In fact, Steve's illustrations were a huge inspiration for the live-action Doctor Strange movie. I mean, if you watch that scene where he's jumping through the different dimensions in that movie, the director said that, like, for that scene in particular was very much inspired by Steve Ditko's drawings from the comic books, and it's such a good scene too. I mean, and this is such a loss for the comic book community. He was just a great artist, and he will be missed. So rest in peace, you true comic book legend, Steve Ditko. And then, so for the next story I want to talk about is this past week, Batman issue number 50 was released, and if any of you were paying attention, it was the wedding of Batman and Catwoman. Unfortunately, the New York Times released a very spoiler review of the comic, and that was written by George Jean Gustins. I think that's how you say his last name. And he basically just told you the plot of the story, which he later on went to say he regrets writing the article. And then the writer, Tom King, he was very upset about that and took to Twitter to talk about it a little bit. And basically, I mean, okay, so here's what I have a problem with. I'm not mad that he spoiled it, because I picked it up anyways, and because, I mean, like, it's such an iconic comic book, even now that there's such this controversy over it. But this guy basically told the storyline of that one comic book, and I don't know if I like the direction that they're taking, but basically what happened was people like myself called comic book shops, said, hey, I want you to order this comic book for me. The comic book shops put it in their order. They got the comic books. This guy released his review. People read it. They called their comic book shop and said, I don't want it. I'm not paying for it. And all these comic book shops are stuck with more comic books of issue number 50 of Batman than they need/want, and now they have to make that up and try to sell those comic books to people that don't want it, because this guy spoiled it in a huge way. And DC is like, we're not going to make up for that revenue. We're not going to take them back. You bought them. And it's really frustrating, because comic book shops, they struggle as it is, and now they have to deal with this extra hassle that I don't think that they deserve to deal with. And I mean, and shame on this Gustins guy for doing that. I mean, you can write a review and not give away the whole story. And shame on you if you canceled. If you pre-order something, buy it, okay? Your comic book shop doesn't deserve for you to be a douchebag to them. Okay, so for my next story, Top Gun 2 is being made into a movie, and right now Tom Cruise is signed onto it, and so is Val Kilmer, to reprise their roles. But recently, Nicholas Hoult, Miles Teller, and Glenn Powell were in the running to play Goose's son. Goose died in the first one, if you remember. Super sad. Gosh, I love that movie so much. But a lot of people, I was reading online, a lot of people wanted Glenn Powell to win it because he did look like a lot like Goose and everything. So, but Miles Teller ended up winning the role of Goose's son. I don't know what his name is going to be. And so it's going to be Tom Cruise and Miles Teller. I like Miles Teller. He's a good actor, and if you ever seen like War Dogs, really good movie, made no money and everything. So I don't think that he's a draw as far as name recognition goes. I mean, I wouldn't see a movie just because Miles Teller was in it. It'd have to look really good to me for me to see it. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'll definitely see it because it's Top Gun 2. I mean, like, Top Gun 1 is so good. It's, like, ridiculous. I love it. Okay, so for my last story, I want to talk Keri Russell. It looks like she is going to be... So the Felicity alum is in early talks to join J.J. Abrams in Star Wars Episode 9, which Abrams is writing and directing. And apparently she'll be playing a villain. Now, I don't know about you, but hopefully she will play a more developed female villain than, say, the likes of Phasma or... Nest, even though she, Nest in Solo. The problem with these female villains that they're getting a lot of the time lately is they're just not developed, and they're just like throwaways, like Phasma especially. Like, they made this huge thing about Phasma, how she was a female villain, and she barely had any line / a part in this movie. So it was really frustrating it's really frustrating when they do that kind of stuff. I'm not going to do what's coming up next, because this is going to be a little bit shorter episode, but I will talk about what's coming up next week and everything. But I just wanted to see if you guys wanted me to talk about anything, if there's anything that you guys want me to do. If you like this video, please hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. What I would really greatly appreciate is if you subscribed, which I'm getting more subscribers every day, and I really appreciate that, you guys. If you could share this video on your social media, I would greatly appreciate that. I will check you guys later. Bye.